Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ScrapMan, bringing you another episode of Trailmakers, and today we're going to be experimenting with this cambered wheel concept, extreme cambered wheels, that was inspired by the comments on my wheels on everything video, where I just put wheels just everywhere and made cars completely out of wheels and things like that. Because one of those vehicles was all wheels, but it fell on its side so that the wheels were kind of flat, and then it had this cool gliding effect. So some people were commenting, let's see what happens if we actually angle wheels out. So I figured that's what we're going to experiment with this episode, and this is my first prototype vehicle. I didn't realize that I wasn't recording when I built this vehicle, so you get to see it at the end result. Well, end result, even though it's really, really bad right now. This is kind of like the first working prototype. So as you can see, it's extremely low to the ground, which I think looks really, really cool. And we've got a bunch of engines, but these engines aren't all being powered at the same time, because I was trying to think of how to steer with something like this. And I figured tank steering, as you can see right here, is the best way to do it, because having wheels on angles like this and then trying to turn the wheels themselves just doesn't make much sense to me. But tank steering is also not that great for some reason, not nearly as good as I would expect it to be. Right now, we have the wheels on a very extreme camber. And you can see, I love the way it looks. This looks like a really futuristic, cool kind of vehicle. And what I definitely want to do after we experiment with these bigger wheels, I really want to get into using, I would love to make a small, compact, futuristic version of this with the motorcycle seat and then the motorcycle wheels. I think it's going to look awesome, and I cannot wait to try that. But first, the big clunky version. Let's experiment and see what happens with this. This whole episode is just going to be do weird stuff and see what happens. So right now, the weird stuff we're doing is just unnecessary, unreasonable wheel camber, just to see how this works here. And as you can see, we are kind of barely scraping the ground, but the really cool thing with this is I can kind of go upside down and still drive. If I put my seat down a little bit like that, and then I go ahead and turn this upside down, you can see I am still capable of driving. Perhaps even a little bit better, actually. Like, turning is definitely better. And then unfortunately, though, with how I am here, if I flip myself back over, if I can manage to pull that off here, which, nope. No, oh, wait, what's happening? What's happening? Come on, can we just get down? Oh, this thing is so derpy. I think this is like the perfect combination between cool and derp. Like, it looks awesome, the concept is really cool, but practically speaking, it's absolutely terrible. It's full of derp, it doesn't work well. You know what, let's just, for experiment's sake, try this jump and see what happens. We're upside down right now, by the way. All my controls are just completely reversed. Oh, are we gonna flip over? Nope, we're not gonna flip over. All right, let me try to flip this thing back over naturally just to see if I can do it, because I really want to see this thing just flip over and keep driving. All right, come on. Dang it, really? A full turn? I thought we had it. All right, come on, work for me. Work for me here. No, you're not working. This is not the working I had in mind. I mean, you're working upside down, but I want you to work right side up again. All right, there we go. Nope. Oh, that looks good. I think we did it without losing too much. Okay, so now you can see with the dust kicking up underneath the center there, we're definitely grinding across the ground. So what I'm gonna do now, I think our wheels are at like the maximum camber that they can be, without just being completely dead on the ground. So now let's go ahead and decrease the angle here so that we have a little bit more ground clearance, and it might be slightly more practical. All right, so we're gonna go down from 55 degrees to 45 degrees, and we're gonna see how this affects things. All right, you can definitely see much more ground clearance. So actually, I'm wondering if my seat is back down, does this give us seat ground clearance, or does it still grind on the ground? Ooh. That is oh, it's on and off. It's not as bad. All right, how about the spine? Let's see if this thing can do the spine. I feel like this thing is it's just an explosion waiting to happen for most of this stuff, but we'll find out here. Oh, upside down. Oh, look at that. We lost a couple of things, but the fact that we can keep driving even though we flipped upside down, I think is a huge bonus point for this thing. Despite its complete impracticality, there is some practical nature of being able to flip upside down and still drive. So I gotta say, I'm a little bit impressed. I mean, I'm more disappointed in this thing than I am impressed with it, but the feeling of being impressed is still somewhere buried in there. All right, I just want to, before we go on to the motorcycle or the compact version, I just really want to take this thing up into the air and watch it get obliterated on ground impact. And I think this is going to be the one here. Yeah, this is going to be the one right here. Oh, no way it's surviving. Actually, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with how much it survived with that. And it's still relatively functional. Oh, not anymore. Not anymore. Nope. Oh, definitely not anymore. Nope. All right, well, I'm actually kind of happy with what we've managed to make so far. Now I'm really looking forward to seeing how compact I can make this with the motorcycle seat. All right, so I have no idea what to expect with this version, especially with this seat and how these wheels are going to behave. But I think it's going to be a fun experiment. I don't know where I'm going to put the engines for one, but we'll figure things out when we get there. All right, let's get building. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to prototype number 1, and I am loving this so far. I completely rethought the way that it works as far as where the parts go and where the wheels go and where the angles come from and stuff. So it's like, it's very, very different than the original starting one. And also turning is completely different too. So this is actually, the wheels actually turn on a hinge rather than tank steering. And that was because with a seat this small, doing tank steering is just completely impractical because the amount of engines you need for tank steering essentially triples versus just regular steering. But now we just have all the engines going to all the wheels, which makes things really easy. So now let me bring out the previous version so we can contrast how they actually work. So you can see in its default state, the wheels are vertical on this one, but on this one over here, the wheels are horizontal. And the reason being is that when these camber, it essentially brings the wheels off of the ground while making the steering hinge here rub against the ground the higher the angle is. But with these, we have full control over the camber, either left or right, so they can angle in or out, and the steering hinge will never bottom out. So it completely gets rid of that problem while adding more versatility to where we can do the angles of the wheels or how much of an angle in which direction. So that's a huge advantage. The other advantage is we can see what it's like to have no camber at all and just have flat wheels on the ground, which is going to be an interesting experiment. And yeah, I just think this thing is an overall better design than this thing, and I'm really looking forward to trying it out. So here goes nothing. All right, so right now I think I'm at a 45-degree angle, which is where we left off on the other one. And you can already see how much, it's even faster. The other one had thrusters on it, and just as many engines for power, not including the tank steering ones, and this thing is already so much faster. The only weird thing about it so far is it seems to want to flip over. So we might actually, how can we deal with the flipping over? We could camber the wheels more. So right now I think they're at 45 degrees. So let's go ahead and select these, and let's change it down to 20 degrees. Let's see what 20 degrees looks like. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks pretty cool, actually. Whoa. Whoa. This is really weird. It's kind of hard to stay straight. Why is it hard to stay straight? Are some wheels not going the right? Look at this. I'm not turning or anything, but you can see, like, it wants to drift side to side. I guess it depends on where the weight gets. Whoa. Whoa, this is so weird. Driving this thing feels so strange. What? And like at some points we start like skidding and then it just digs in. It's like we have no traction and then too much traction. What is going on? This thing is not behaving like you'd expect at all. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, I am very, very confused at what is causing these weird inconsistencies. I wonder if it's the wheels being doubled up. Here, just out of an experiment, I'm gonna save this version. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete the middle wheels and we're gonna see how this affects things. We have so much less speed now. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. And now it's even worse for control or for tipping over. This is so weird how much that has changed things. All right, now the wheels are back. And so much faster all of a sudden. But our control is even worse. Whoa! That was pretty cool. All right, we definitely need to start tweaking this thing. I love the way this thing looks, and it seems like it has a lot of potential to be an awesome vehicle. So let's start messing around with it. Let's start doing weird stuff and seeing what happens. And hopefully we'll get a version that's better than this. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of length to the base. I'm gonna add 4 blocks of length because I think a square wheelbase isn't the best for turning and stuff. It's better to be longer than wider rather than just a complete square. And now that I'm thinking about it, I could add steering to be a center hinge instead of on each of these. I don't know how I feel about that though. That could be another thing to experiment with at another point, but let's just try this so far and see how it's gonna feel. All right, so far the changes I've made are length, and I've added some aerodynamic blocks just to cover up some of the engines here and there, and I've just tried to make it a little bit better with aesthetics. So let's just see what happens, and we'll play it by ear. So far, oh, it seems like it's gonna do fine, and then it just digs in on the turn all of a sudden. Oh boy. Oh, you know what? Spoilers. Spoilers is what this thing needs. We can put the spoilers in the back here. This is gonna be awesome. All right, I gotta admit the spoilers have added like +10 to the cool factor on this thing, so I'm really looking forward to seeing if they actually do anything useful. All right, so far we're not doing too bad. Now we just gotta try the turning. I don't know. Yeah. It seems like maybe they tried to help, but then they just didn't. I think what we need to do, I think what really needs to happen here is a lower center of mass. So there's 2 options for that. Either I add weight to the bottom, or I just move the entire body of it down 1. There we go. Okay, so now I'm a little bit worried about bottoming out, but we'll see how it affects things. Ooh, that is close. That is really close to the ground now. Oh boy, it might be too close. It might be a little bit too close. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this right now. Ooh, in the turning. Oh, what the? Look at the huge dust cloud. That's ridiculous. Okay, oh. Okay, that's still happening sometimes, but not nearly as much as you can see. You know what? Let's try different terrain. Why not the tarmac? Let's get up onto this road here, and we'll see how it does. Oh, it's very inconsistent. Like, it'll be okay at one point, and then very, very suddenly, oops, it'll just turn you. Ow. So I'm going to replace the steering hinges on all 4 sets of wheels, and I'm going to put it right in the middle. So we're going to have kind of like a segmented vehicle that turns from the center hinge. All right, I think we've done it. I just don't know what to expect with this now. Yeah, there's the turning. All right, let's hope that this adds a little bit more stability to this thing. Actually, this isn't feeling so bad right now. This isn't feeling that bad at all. The turning feels a little bit slow, to be honest, but other than that, it's way less prone to random just twitches and turns. So this is a super big improvement, but it's slower for some reason. It's definitely slower, and I'm not sure why it would be slower. All right, let's get out of the grass here. Maybe the grass is what's affecting. Oh, it was the grass. Yeah, I think it was the grass. Okay, that makes more sense now. All right, so let's try this thing again on the tarmac and see if that makes even a bigger difference. All right, well, here we go onto the tarmac. Oh, no. Oh, that's bad. Ow. You know what? Maybe the steering hinge angle, the camber angle, is making a huge difference. So let's experiment with other angles and see how it affects things. So let's go super, super minimal and let's do like 5 degrees. I think 5 degrees is the minimum angle. So these things are... What is happening? They won't even stay on the ground. So this is like the absolute minimum angle. And as you can see, way, way less control. We are sliding though. It's almost like a hovercraft, it feels like. This is kind of crazy. I guess we'll go down this hill because we don't really have an option anymore. Okay. This is so weird. I really have no control over where I'm going. Even when I turn, yeah, it's not really doing much. Instead of going down, let's go back to 45 degrees with our lower center of mass and see how things go with that. And then we could try like a reverse camber. Rather than being cambered outwards, we can try cambered inwards and see how that affects things. Although I suspect that it'll make us roll a lot more, but it's worth a try. All right, so now we're at 45 degrees and this thing is feeling way more usable already. And it looks awesome too. Oh man, this is so much better. Instant improvement. Look at this. Oh, and I love the way the character leans too. Oh, this thing just became so much more awesome. This is so fun. This is so much more fun to use. Look at how much more control we have. I can go where I want to go. You can't ask for much more than that. Or I guess you can't ask for much less than that. Just, I want to be able to go where I want to go. Oh, we're not going to make this, are we? Uh-oh. Almost. Does this thing happen to be the right width for this little obstacle here? No, we're too thin. Yeah. Oh, no way. What? What? How do we do that? Oh, no, go. We're so close. We're so close. I can't believe we almost did that. Our bars were like scraping us by there. All right, let's go back over here. I'm really happy with how this has turned out so far. So now let's try negative 45 degrees. Right now we have the camber on a 45 degree tilt. So let's try negative 45, and it's the complete opposite. I'm really curious how this is going to affect our handling and control. All right, so now you can see the wheels are angled into the bottom rather than out away from the bottom. So this should make things... Oh, and of course, we're reversed. I forgot that happens. We could actually have a button for this. Oh, I did this in Scrap Mechanic once. Oh, things could get really interesting here. Things could get really, really interesting here. But anyway, my controls are reversed right now a little bit, but so far, this is actually working surprisingly well. Yeah, this is actually not much different at all. And actually, it drifts a little bit more, like unintentionally, it doesn't straighten out as much. But other than that, it's not much different. But I have, whoa, that was cool. I have a crazy idea that is inspired by something I did like 2 years ago in Scrap Mechanic. So let's see what happens with that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here is the new version. Now, this thing works completely strangely compared to any other vehicle in existence. And this is a concept I thought up a while ago that I completely forgot about until then. Now, you may notice that there are no more steering hinges on this thing whatsoever. And I've remapped the engines so they are activated forward with space, and there is no reverse on the engines. So these wheels are only ever going to spin in a single direction. So you may be wondering, okay, well, how do you go backwards and how do you turn? Well, when we press space, nothing is going to happen because the wheels are perfectly flat. But when I press W, it's going to angle the wheels this way. Now, if we want to go reverse, I press S, and it actually angles the wheels backwards. So this is how you switch directions. W is for forward, S is for backwards, and that just changes the orientation of the wheels, which actually changes the direction of their rotation on the point that's in contact with the ground. So now, in order to turn left and right, this is how we do it. So I'm going to go forward, get out of the grass here. Now to turn left, one of them has to be angled in one direction and one of them has to be angled in the other direction. And that's going to cause them to basically do a tank steering type thing. And as you can see, tank steering isn't quite as effective in Trailmakers, but it works nonetheless. Look at that. Isn't that weird? That is so weird how that's functioning right now. It's like we're skating back and forth a little bit. That is so weird. But Anyway, that gives us full control. It's not nearly as efficient as just normal steering for sure, and normal everything. But conceptually, I think it's a really interesting thing to see it work and to play around with it as well. So now I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go backwards and try to turn around and then continue to go forwards. Yeah, look at that. And like the turning, like just trying to turn a little bit to the left here. Oh, I have to get off of W to really, really hold it down. Okay. This is so interesting to play around with. So I like this version better as like an experimental thing, but to play around with, it's not nearly as efficient as the normal version with the steering hinge in the middle segment. But I'm curious what you guys think of this concept here with just using the tilt of the wheels to determine what direction you go, left or right, front or back. This is a really fun experiment. I'm glad I saw a couple people comment about cambered wheels. So thank you to those of you who left those comments, because this was a super fun episode. Oh, let's try a jump here. Oh boy. Oh, no, not quite. Hey, we still have control. Yeah, that's not so bad. We still have pretty much full control over this thing. As long as we have wheels on each side, everything kind of just controls itself. This is really interesting, isn't it? Huh. I'm almost seeing like a cool, like a trike concept out of this. All right, well, that was the camber wheel concept. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And let me know if you have any other suggestions for other ideas that you'd like to see happen in Trailmakers. And if you've missed all the crazy stuff we've done in the past on Trailmakers, go check out this playlist right here. There's hundreds of videos of just all kinds of crazy ideas and shenanigans, doing weird stuff and seeing what happens. I hope I've earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.